so now we're going to look at moving up the value ladder a little bit more. And what I want to kind of focus on right now for a quick second is the saying here is information is a commodity, but knowledge is the new currency. Okay. Now, specialized knowledge is what we're talking about, right? Anyone can get information, and information is a commodity because you can get it anywhere. But having specific knowledge that can actually help somebody is taking all this information and making it tangible, making it almost like a product, if you will, in the form of some type of a system, some type of a process, some type of something that makes it tangible. So that's what we want to do is focus on that, and that's where we get into. We talked about moving up the ladder. So in between the two is as you're moving up the ladder, we talk about health focused, but now we want to focus on human health. Okay, so now the health focused green cleaning is focused on human health, but it's focused on still the products to a degree, although you're not leading with the product, you're leading with the technology of the products. What human health is, again, right? In order for you to do this and do this sell, you're investing time, okay? But so is your customer. So you want to, focus on the accounts, the industries that are going to value this. There's a lot of industries in that there aren't, and that's where you give them what they want, and you get some cash flow business like that, and you move some inventory. But you want to focus on the accounts that are going to appreciate that and leave the majority of those accounts that don't appreciate it to your competitors. Let your competitors have them. So we're going to focus on human health. Now, we want to sell human health. And how do we do that? Well, the way we do that is to focus on three primary things. That is indoor air quality, health and safety, and regulatory compliance. Okay, so, and that's going to be through the programs that they have in their facility. It's going to be the outcomes that they deliver. It's going to be in the processes you help them recognize that they need. So, as we look at this, there's three major pollutants that we are after in cleaning, whether or not we're selling cleaning services or cleaning supplies. At the end of the day, all we're doing is using products to deliver an outcome of a clean facility. So the products play a role, but it's not solely on the products, right? We can still get away with this by using microfibers and no chemicals. Okay, we could get away with this, quite frankly, on using rags. We'd have to have a little bit of product, but we could get away with a lot. With it's not product focused. What I'm trying to say, but what we do want to focus on is just the three things. So when you're walking into a facility, yes, you ultimately want to sell your products, but you want to lead to your products. So you want to put on your health and safety hat, right? Your human health hat, not your product hat. Your product hat says, I'm in the commodity business and I'm trying to improve what you're doing. This we want to sell new. We want to sell concepts, ideas, technologies, right, that make a positive impact on their building, on their facility. So the first is that we're looking to reduce particulate. Now, particulate is a sexy word for dirt, right? Controlling dirt, pollen, dust before they come into the building. This reduces the cost of cleaning and improves health and safety, obviously, right? But we want to focus on removing the particulate. Now, there are a lot of things that fall into this, or some things that fall into this that aren't just dirt or particulate in the way you think about it. Powdering from the floors when you burnish the floors, and the powder as an example is dust going up into the air, right? Impacting the impacting how you breathe. VOCs, volatile organic compounds. Now, a lot of you know what those are, but a new car scent is a VOC. Perfume is a VOC. So if you, depending on where you are, you may run into a lot of facilities, a lot of city rec centers, Senior centers, as an example, they'll have no scent zones, which they're no scent. They don't want any scent. In fact, there's a story that's well over 20 years old now of a sales rep I worked with, and he told me the story that he was in I believe it was a hospital in Nova Scotia, Canada, and someone walked past him and turned around and asked him, "Excuse me, sir, do you use Bounce or fabric softener in your laundry?" And he said, "Yes." And she said, "I'm sorry, we are a scent-free facility. I need you to leave the building, please." And he had his sales call in a car. The lady came and sat in the car and they had the sales call. Okay, so these things are real. So recognizing that you want to reduce the odors in a facility improves indoor air quality and health and safety. Now, these are real. These things have real impact on human health, just as biological. You think of COVID. COVID was a biological example. Getting the flu, things like that are biological things, right? Eliminating bacteria, mold, mildews, microorganisms, right? Humidity, moisture, things like that. Washing hands. So these are the three things you want to look out for. And these are the three things you want to put your hat on as you're walking in, as you're talking and evaluating your customer's facility. You're looking at, how can I help them reduce this? Okay, this is what everyone wants to do, this, right? But it's highlighting it. It's taking the focus off of the products and onto differentiating, helping them achieve health, safety, regulatory compliance for the facility, because it impacts and has real financial impact on the facility in ways that they don't even recognize it. So that's what we're focusing on. When you're selling for health and safety, we're focusing on these three main pollutants. Now, what are the effects of these three pollutants? Well, the effects are headaches, dizziness, nausea, dry cough, nose and throat irritation, lack of concentration, eye irritations, fatigue, odor sensitivity, and dry or itchy skin. Now, before we move forward, I just want to talk about this for a sec. There are a number of times that I have gone to a restaurant, as an example, and I go into that restaurant and I sit down and I'm with the person I'm with. And a lot of times I noticed this on calls when I was out with sales reps. We'd just go to these different restaurants. But what would happen, I'd get into the facility, and again, it was mostly restaurants, I noticed it, but definitely other facilities as well. And within 5 or 10 minutes there, I'm feeling like itchy, or I'm sneezing. My eyes are watering. And there's been a few times when someone has said to me, "Are you catching a cold or something?" Like, no, right? Now, there's something in that building that's impacting me, that's affecting me. It might not impact you, but it's impacting me. Or it might not be as obvious to you as it is to me, right? Because I'm getting actual effects. I'm actually noticing my eyes are watering, what have you. Now, what could that be? It could be the ventilation in the facility. It could be poor filters and stuff like that, and it's just not filtering properly. It could be the underarm deodorant or the cologne of the server. It could be the residue in the carpets. It could be the cleaner they used on the surface that they sprayed it down and it hasn't dried properly, what have you, and it's emitting air, and it's and I'm breathing it in. It could be the dust, which would be from poor filtration, as an example. These things are impacting me. Now, I'm only in that restaurant for 10 or 15, maybe an hour. Now, if you work in that facility, you might not notice the issues. You might not notice your eyes watering. You might not notice that you're a little fatigued. Okay, but how does that impact you on your health? How does that impact you on your productivity? How does it impact you on your concentration, on your alertness, on your dialogue with customers? Do you think productivity takes a hit? Obviously. So these things are really impacting the outcomes of your customers. Their employees are working less effectively. They are having dizziness, headaches. They're not thinking as clearly. They're not as cognitively um, uh, as cognitively aware, right? Because there's these things happening. They don't recognize it, and they're not feeling well. Things are happening to them, and and it's an outcome of the indoor air quality of things going on within that building. Now, those are the effects. The causes are increased absenteeism, okay, sinusitis, learning problems, sick building syndrome, business-related illnesses, building-related, lower productivity, asthma, infectious disease. What's infectious disease? Colds, coughs. How many times have you heard about, someone gets a cold at work and other people get a cold at work, right? Nowadays they say, well, if you're sick, don't come to work. So these are the causes of the effects. So these have real human health effects on businesses, on employees, on the profitability, on the productivity of your customers. And this has a lot more ramifications, a huger financial impact on your customers than them saving 10% on a box of general purpose cleaner, and that they're going to order 5 times a year. So improving this is a lot more valuable to your customers than them saving $50 a year on a box of neutral cleaner, right? Products. So recognize that price has a place, but human health and safety has a wider place, a more important place. And your customers, most of the time, are not aware of this. It's our job to make them aware of this and to make them care and make them want to be and change. And most people do, because most people are ethical and want the best for their employees, for themselves. And so the issue becomes getting rid of this and improving this, not the price of your products. So it has a real financial impact. Now, some studies that these are going back years and years old. So this data is real, and it's been around for a long time. But they did studies, and you can see that by them looking after air pollutants in the air, okay, efficient vacuum bags, matting, damp dusting. So damp dusting, not dry dusting, right? Because damp dusting takes the dirt and puts it on the cloth. Dry puts the dirt and dust into the air. Frequent vacuuming, dusting, deep cleaning of the buildings, right? 52% reduction in dust. Total VOC reduction, 49%. Cleaning chemicals, balanced ventilation, carpet extraction. So by cleaning properly, using cleaning products that are low on VOCs or have no VOCs smell, carpet extraction, cleaning the residue and getting the left residue in that out of the carpets, 49% improvement in VOCs. Total bacteria down 40%. Days absence from school, 46%. Now, all these played a role. School buses were cleaned. So they went into school buses and cleaned the school buses properly, effectively. That was part of it. So all of these air pollutants, which is all focused on, these are the outcomes that was delivered to the case studies, and you'll see it by Michael Berry, Frank Porter Graham Development Center. Okay, so another one is total illness, respiratory. Okay, 24% reduction. Proper use of cleaning products and modified cleaning procedures, sequencing frequency of fresh cleaners. So meaning that they're changing their mop buckets regularly. They're changing their products frequently. They're changing after a certain amount of rooms being disinfected and cleaned, right? Number of doctor visits down 34%. Okay, you can see again days absent from school reduced by 40%, all from a school. You see the data, but some of the real data is student attendance before and after. Okay, there was a 4% improvement in student absence. Okay, math scores were 51%, to 76%, a 49% improvement. Why? Not because of your products, but your products played a part in it. It was because of the procedures, them using proper cloths, them vacuuming, filtration, all of these things all contributed to better cognitive function of the students. So they concentrate better. So their math scores improved. Their reading scores improved 27%. So these are the outcomes that are delivered when we are cleaning for health and safety, when we're cleaning for health, and we're not focused on just selling our products. We're focused on the outcomes, on improving health and safety of the facility. So these are real, and these impact and can absolutely move the needle, and your customers care about this. So that is conclusion of this section, and we're going to move up to the top 4%. What do the top 4%, by my estimation, what do they do differently that others